Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
I want to read for you a direct message that I got from Pasmirchi.
Pasmirchi.
Now, Pasmirchi is a hockey nerd, and they spell hockey nerd as one word. And my profession is that I love cats. Hockey nerd, and that my profession is love cats. 14 followers following 138 people.
I get it.
And this is from Saturday. So
Saturday night?
Saturday morning at 7:13 a.m. Because we were talking about Källgren. We were talking about who is this guy. Hi, Adam. Erik Källgren is not to be underestimated.
Oh.
In the SHL playoffs, Erik Källgren actually won the championship for the, is it Vasho Lakers? Vasho Lakers. After former Oilers goalie Victor Faust went down with a career-ending injury in the semifinals against Orbero, my hometown. Erik Källgren was absolutely, in caps, outstanding for the Lakers, and arguably the reason they won the championship in 14 playoff games. He had a 1.74 goals against average and rocked a basically a 930 save percentage.
Gee.
And I didn't respond to that because I get a lot of DMs, and sometimes I can respond, sometimes I can't, sometimes I don't see them. And then this morning at 10:08 a.m., I get a message from Permishri from Sweden.
I gotta see this name.
And all he says is, "Told you."
I
haven't even responded to him.
Professional cat lady. And then where's the name?
Right there. Permishri. Regardless, Permishri was right. Erik Källgren was nothing to be messed with. At least during one game. And it was nice to see. And it was sort of a relief. We saw a goalie. Now, given the Dallas Stars can't score goals.
Okay, thank you for getting to that. The Dallas Stars can't do anything offensively on a hockey rink.
Rick Bowness is
awful.
strangling his own team with the way they play.
That's just sort of how they are.
Yeah, they've been that for a couple of years, but it's awful in games like that.
It's weird. Like, stylistically, it's not good for offense, but they have some guys who can score the hell out of goals.
Also, it's also a little bit on Rick Bowness. Adam isn't wrong on that.
No, of course.
Your coach is in charge of coaching the team, and if your team can't do anything offensively, it's time to change the strategy.
They're currently 17th in the league in goals for, which isn't good because the next closest teams are Chicago, Buffalo, and Arizona.
And I think their 5-on-5 goals for is like awful. It's like bottom 10 or something.
Is it?
Yeah, organizationally, though, like it's a decision. You know what I mean? Like it's not just the coach. There isn't a disconnect. They've decided we will not score and we will win.
But the Islanders tried that and it worked.
Right.
Until it didn't.
But the Leafs are their defensive kryptonite as well. The Leafs have these weird rally games where they figure out, defense. Oh, you want us to do that?
Where they listen to the Arkells beforehand.
Oh, yeah. That's the
call.
only reason. That's the only,
And
Adam,
the Arkells show up at another Canadian event.
When the Leafs finally win, you know what they're going to say about it?
They're going to say it was the Arkells.
No, they're going to say it was years in the making.
Oh, because that's their new song.
That's their song.
What was promoted in Hamilton, and they've got their show, which is the Years in the Making show in Hamilton. Right, okay.
Song.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, no, so they have these rally games. I'm super happy for Erik Källgren. And here's the thankless part about being a goalie in the NHL. All right, do it again.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, I think you're absolutely right. Yeah, okay, do it again. And Peter Mrazek, by the way, is out in his St. Paddy's Day pads today at morning skate. So I think he's going to get the next start.
He absolutely should.
Thursday versus Carolina, St. Paddy's Day.
And here's the thing, right? This is the Carolina game. Here's why I think he should get it. Because, I've had a bunch of Detroit fans reach out and go, listen, you don't understand Peter Mrazek. The 9-10 save percentage that Kyle Dubas quoted is a mirage. I think it was Yzerman BRZ on Twitter that was tweeting us about it.
I saw.
And he said, like, listen, it's a mirage. He has games where he's absolutely unbeatable, and then games where he's played the entire season here in Toronto.
I think he's wrong for the right reasons.
What do you mean?
If that makes sense. Well, we clarified it before. Like, stylistically, he's a nightmare. He's a nightmare stylistically. He doesn't do any of the things you're supposed to do. 9-10 save percentage. The 9-10 save percentage suggest that it comes out in the wash, right?
Yes.
This is not an elite goalie, but he stops enough pucks generally to give his team a chance to win. This is the worst hockey of his career, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about what Mrazek was versus what he is currently.
Mm-hmm.
He's not an old man, although he does have an injury history. I'm willing to believe he's better than this, but holy shit. Like, this isn't a goalie who's struggling because the puck is just happens to be finding ways by him. This is a goalie who has no clue what he's doing, right?
Doesn't know where the post is, but Erik Källgren knew where the posts were last night.
He sure did. It was such a calm viewing experience. I'm like, oh, look at him. You know, what do they say about goalies? They say, you know, Joe Bowen has 1,000 nicknames for them. They always say between the pipes. What do they say for Peter Mrazek? In the general vicinity of the face-off circle.
Which one? The center ice one, or the hash marks, or where is he?
The dude, like, he's halfway to being offside.
Yeah,
a lot of times. So,
but would you not agree? And I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No.
But would you not agree, Jesse and Steve? And I want to ask you both this question: that Peter Mrazek starting versus Carolina on Thursday solves this once and for all. Because if he has a bad game, to me, and then Källgren follows that up with a good game, Peter Mrazek is now third on your depth chart. And second, until Jack Campbell comes back.
I think we're already there, personally.
Right, but don't you feel like there's got to be that one final nail in the coffin? This is a guy on a 3-year deal, right? When you have a 3-year deal, when you're being paid this much, you do get a few extra chances than a rookie coming into the league. You know, like Garrett Sparks didn't have a good run as the backup goalie for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and he didn't get as many chances as Mrazek will get because he wasn't an established NHL player already. Right? Is that fair to say?
Mrazek, if he was on an expiring contract, I don't think we'd ever see him again. Yeah, but he's got 2 years left, so you're right. You got to make it work. It's against his former team.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So that's a big one. You know, and then if he plays an amazing game against Carolina, you have a fantastic problem.
I think they did it incorrectly. I would have given Källgren a run here with Campbell out. Like, I think you probably should have, because you know what you have in Mrazek, you know what you have in Campbell. You don't know what you have in Källgren. One game isn't enough. So you take advantage of this and give him a little bit of run, a couple games in a row, and see what you got. And then you evaluate the 3 goalies and you rank them. But they're giving Mrazek back the net, which I think is kind of odd.
Well, so it's official he's playing?
No, but he came out with the old school brown pads for the St. Pat's game.
Just because he ordered that shit doesn't mean he can't wear it on the bench. You
right.
know? Like,
okay. And that's fair.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Let's say he pitches an absolute gem against the Hurricanes. All right, so the Leafs' entire deadline strategy is going to be around one good game against the Hurricanes.
I mean, they've based it on less. They based Mike Babcock's job on one good Game 5 against the Bruins.
Yeah, and they were wrong. It cost them millions of dollars wrong. You know, so,
and 20 games.
And 20 games. So what I would say to that is your mind should be made up. Källgren starts every game heading into the deadline, which is only 2, by the way.
And they're not doing that, it seems like. I would have given him Thursday, and then if he's great on Thursday, then go again on Saturday.
If he's hog shit Thursday, I give him Saturday.
Yeah,
I give him the full experience.
It should have been 3 games, so you have something going into Monday, and you know.
Here's what you got. You got a defensive brute force team like the Dallas Stars. He shut them down.
Mm-hmm.
You got a high flying, high octane offense like the Carolina Hurricanes. We'll see how he does. And then you give him the bright lights of Saturday night. I don't even know who they're playing.
That's what I was about to double check.
Doesn't even matter.
Preds. That's a great evaluation game there as well.
It's a great evaluation game.
Yeah.
I don't put any stock into what pads Mrazek is wearing today. He can wear them on the bench.
And the Leafs can also order other pads, I'm sure.
Of course.
They can order pads in Källgren's size.
And the other thing with Mrazek, though, is and we sort of get a little bit tunnel vision at this time of year. There are games after the deadline. Like, the Leafs have, 22 games left? 21?
Yeah.
And he can play some of those games.
Yeah.
It's perfectly fine. Here's a great scenario. The Leafs could potentially head into the playoffs with a healthy Jack Campbell, with a resurgent Peter Mrazek, and look at this found money in Erik Källgren, who was at 904 in the AHL. We didn't even know he was this good. I give him the net. Give him the net for the next 2 games. Peter, you had your shot.
Wow.
I agree, where you just need to evaluate your talent.
Okay.
And you can't do that in practice. You got to do it in games. So, and here's an opportunity with your number one goalie out to just evaluate your backups, and that you need to take advantage of it, especially going into Monday when you got to make a decision. I
noticed something. So the AHL, it's so hard to look at the numbers and be like, this is the player they are. Yeah. Because you'd look at certain players and be like, oh, they're God. Like you look at TJ Brennan, and that is Zeus holding lightning. He's going to join the NHL and win the Norris, and then you watch him and you're like, oh, that's why he's not here. Right? But the one statistical anomaly I found interesting, Hutchinson's a 901, Wool is a 902, Källgren's a 904. They're almost identical in the AHL. Hutch is has a record of 5-4-3. Wool is 5-7. Källgren is 15-8-1. So there's got to be something there.
So look at the record, right?
I know wins are a terrible way to evaluate goaltenders. I know that,
but it's not a great team, is it?
They're fine. They're okay. They haven't been great since Greg Moore joined. They're fine. They don't have a ton of players under. They have a lot of AHL contracts on that team,
right?
And it's sort of unnecessary.
Interesting. Well,
I think they want their guys playing big minutes wherever they can. Like they have a lot of guys in the KHL, VHL, MHL, Finland, Sweden,
and maybe maybe the KHL part changes next year.
Yeah. Well, Dmitriev Chinnikov has already come over to the Marlies, so I think
we're going to stop seeing that.
I think there's an aspect of the Leafs that they went heavily KHL because of COVID, and they're like, all right, everyone get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
One thing that was interesting pregame on Sunday before the Heritage Classic when Dubas was talking, he mentioned, he's like, I'm not necessarily looking for goaltending at the trade deadline, which he's been saying this is company line.
Liar.
These lies. But when he was listing the goaltenders they have, he threw in Joseph Woll. He said they have Källgren, they have Mrazek, and they have Woll. And I was like, Wall's the odd man out, but there's an opportunity for Woll that I think he's missing out on because he doesn't seem to be in the running. But if he was, I guess, better earlier in the year, there would have been an opportunity for him to jump in.
And that's competitive sports, right?
Yeah.
Be good.
Well,
and be ready for your opportunity.
So this is hilarious, but Woll and Källgren have started a combined 5 games for the Leafs, 2 shutouts. That's so ridiculous. They have a shutout each.
Yeah, but I don't want us to forget about Joseph Woll. He's still there. He can still have a backup job.
Yeah. I don't want to forget about him either. And for Källgren, it's a very small sample size. I tell you what, Woll never made me as comfortable as Källgren did last night. Now, Woll was playing in the midst of the standard of all-star Jack Campbell and even, usable Peter Mrazek. Källgren is just like he's a pond and he's an oasis in the desert. Like we were all dying of thirst and he quenched it last night. But Woll right now in his career belongs in the minors. Källgren, I think this is his shot.
Yeah, Källgren, he's a little ahead of Woll in his development, I guess, but the conversation has been around Woll more than Källgren. Like
absolutely.
Källgren hasn't been on the radar at all. Woll's gotten the starts earlier in the year.
At least not to the average fan, too, right? Like the average fan is not like to be honest with you, even the hardcore fans, not many of them had heard. Not many of us had heard of Erik Källgren.
Woll was the next guy up.
100%.
So this is tricky with the AHL. Is we look at guys getting called up as this is where they are in the depth chart. It's not always the case because I'm fairly certain when Woll got the call up, Källgren was hurt. I think he had a concussion from earlier this year. I'm not entirely sure. But they've sort of traded injuries. The Marlies have had nightmare injury luck over the last few years. I like Woll. Year after year I say I believe in him. But this is Källgren's time in the NHL.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see. Now, I'd like to talk about something that has arisen, and I'm not totally sure why. And I've said this for weeks now. But for I don't know how many seasons John Tavares has played, but in every season except for last one, which was shortened,
Mm-hmm.
he has scored 20 goals or more. And last night he got his 20th goal. And last year, by the way, he had 19 goals.
In
56 games.
Yeah, come on.
So he was on pace for 28 to 30 goals last year, something like that.
And he was still
He has 37
over a point a game.
He has 20 goals. He's got 37 assists.
Last year he was just under.
Can we do away with the John Tavares is A, washed up, or B, not worth the money narrative? You know, you could talk to me about, well, an $11 million contract should be worth this. Well, it was free agency. He's a unrestricted free agent. When you buy an unrestricted free agency, you will overpay. Listen, he accepted less money. If he had been a San Jose Shark, and he could have been, he'd be making $13 million a year right now. He'd be the highest paid player in the NHL. That's what the Sharks offered him. So just to put that into context. Now, John Tavares stepped up last night and was great, I thought.
Absolutely, and he needed to.
And he needed to because Austin Matthews is gone today. And he's really going to be gone against Carolina, which is going to be hard
that just
to deal
occurred
with.
to me.
That hurts, right? Carolina is just a killer team. Unbelievable.
God, that sucks.
And John Tavares, every day, whether or not it's going in for him, goes in, plays defense. You ever hear about John? Well, that was a shitty defensive play by John Tavares. Do you ever hear that?
Sometimes. I mean, he's mortal.
Right, but it's never like, you know what I'm talking about.
He's not an idiot.
Yeah. You're not terrified when he's out there.
Here, I'll give you an example. Tyler Seguin had a horrible game last night.
Yeah, and by the way, Tyler Seguin rolled into town with 299 career goals and did not get 300 in Toronto. And
shocked.
You have to imagine
299
that he
goals,
expected to.
And a solid quarter of them are against the Leafs. Like, unbelievable.
Crazy that he didn't get it. I want to once and for all put that to bed because I think that's just been one of those storylines that's been lingering out there. And for anybody that thinks that, my question is, what does washed up mean to you? What is washed up truly? He had a couple of bad weeks. So did Nylander. Nylander's been great.
He's been okay.
He's been bad. Okay, he had a shitty game against Buffalo.
Nylander's been wandering a little. I don't like
You
it.
think so? He's a little unfocused?
Yeah.
His passes are a little They're a little less crispy these days.
Big time.
Yeah.
No, he looks confused out there. It's weird.
Wow, really? You think so?
Yeah. I mean, he's getting his cookies. His shot is stupid.
Mm-hmm. He still gets like 1 or 2 breakaways a game. He's always the guy they're springing, which is awesome. But in the neutral zone and a little bit defensively, he's kind of loosey goosey.
So he's got 56. Tavares has got 57.
Yeah.
For your second line center and your second line right winger, what team was unhappy with that in 60 games?
I think it's a chemistry issue right now, and people are conflating it with he's bad.
Mm-hmm. And I'm talking about Tavares specifically.
I think casual fans have an issue with John Tavares the last season and a half. I feel like that thing's been bubbling up where they don't like the contract and they look at Matthews and they're like, this guy's making $11 million. Like that's you should be making a less trade.
Every center in the league would look bad, with the exception of Connor McDavid and Sidney Crosby, would look bad next to him.
Right, but I think a lot of casual fans just point to that simple thing and they're like, he makes so much money and he's not the star. You know, you could move him for a big defenseman, and I think that's a lot of the audience, and it's not a correct take.
3 guys: Matthews, Tavares, Marner. They all make double digits. Mm-hmm. Well, they're not going to complain about Matthews. He rules.
Marner's been
all right. So we're gonna carve Marner. Oh wait. Oh, he's playing the best hockey of his career. Wait. Who's the other guy?
Tavares, I think.
That's our guy. We're gonna kill him.
Yeah.
we're just gonna crucify him at every turn, because. And I get it. Like, this is what comes with being the captain of a team, with making a lot of money. It's an honor bestowed upon the best.
Yep.
We're not having a conversation like, guys, bring it in. Is Alexander Kerfoot washed up?
Right. You don't have those conversations.
No, you don't. Listen, he's great. He's great. Good game.
So you're
him.
looking for somebody to carve? That's the guy you carve?
Not me.
But I obviously not you, but I'm talking
There's
about
a reason
you.
we're talking about this narrative is because people are saying
it's been out there.
Some people they look at it and they nitpick. That's the captain. A lot of people think Austin Matthews should be the captain, so they'll go at the guy as the captain. He's the second star on the team in terms of production. You know, So there's a lot of things you nitpick, but none of those things are valid.
Listen,
He's a great player who's on a good contract.
I would listen to somebody saying maybe it's time for Tavares to pass the captaincy to Matthews. I would listen to that. And that's happened before peacefully.
Sure.
And there has been harmony in the land. Marlowe did it to Thornton. Thornton did it to, wasn't it Pavelski? No. Brent Burns? No.
I think it was Pavelski. Yeah.
Pavelski. You know what I mean? And they all played on the same team together. I could listen to that argument, but don't tell me that John Tavares isn't good or worth his contract anymore. Right. It's just factually incorrect.
It's silly. You need a guy. I get it. It's fine. Listen, I understand it a lot more if he played goalie, but he doesn't.
He doesn't. So let me run you through this just straight up from the charts. Austin Matthews. These charts that Dom Lucian puts together.
It's a lot of yellow.
Right? So what's that one?
Jesus, dude, I can't read.
GSVA, Steven.
GSVA?
Yeah.
Goals saved. I forget. What is it?
I don't know what it is either. I keep forgetting. GSVA. There it is.
I forget.
Here, we'll do this. We'll
game score value added.
Game score value added. Okay.
Sorry, there's a similar one for goaltending.
There you go.
So I was like, wait, how does this apply to Matthews?
Right. So Matthews is a 5.8. I think McDavid at the beginning of the season was like a 5.9. They're like up like a tenth away from each other right now. Marner's a 4.2. Sorry, what
is that good?
It's very the highest you can be, I think, is like a 6 or a 6.4 or something. It's like some ridiculous number. Marner 4.2. Bunting is a 3.2. Now I think some of that's inflated because he's playing with them. I'll give you that. I still think he deserves the Calder. Nylander a 2.2, and Tavares a 2.6.
Can I talk about something with Dom's work?
Yeah,
is these charts that Dom does and Money Puck, they've been getting some negative press recently, and the reason is because people use them wrong. They just tweet out the card and go,
"See, better.
Look at this.
Right.
Very good."
I do that sometimes.
Yeah, no, totally. But it's dumb and provides no context, which Dom will provide in abundance. Right? Like
that's why we don't call him Dumb Decision.
Hey, that would be a dumb decision.
Oh,
hey, woo.
Anyway, sorry.
No, listen, well, I guess the card ends up on free Twitter.
Yeah,
and the explanation is behind a paywall.
Is behind the paywall.
But just don't have such a passionate opinion about the card if you didn't read it.
So
if you didn't read the article that went with it.
But part of what I really like about this is it actually talks about the market value of certain players. Here's what their salary is. Here's what their market value is based on this model. Dom's models are pretty good. So like Austin Matthews, his salary is 11.6. His market value, if there was no cap and he was paid properly, can you hazard a guess?
15.
Jesse, hazard a guess.
16.
19.4 million.
Oh, wow.
Holy shit.
Mitch Marner, 10.9 million. What's his market value?
14.
17.
14.3, Steven.
Hey.
Okay, let's go. Michael Bunting. Here's how this will be interesting.
So I know this one.
Okay, well, tell me what it is.
Jesse, what do you
He
think?
makes $1 million. What's 8? Okay.
8 million?
Mm-hmm. Market value.
11.4.
11.4 million. William Nylander. Salary, 7 million. Market value, guys. What do you think?
Nylander? 9.
Jesse?
Bunting was 11?
Yeah.
11.4.
So I'm going to go 13.
It values Nylander at an 8.
Oh.
But here's where the Tavares one's interesting. Remember what I told you? And this is, again, I'm cherry picking from Dom's charts and in no way doing this justice. But I wanted to show the market value for Tavares. Remember, his salary is 11. His market value, according to Dom's charts, is 9.4 million.
Oh, I was going to say 11.
No, it's
Bang
not 11.
on.
But, and that's a quote unquote overpay. I don't even think that includes last night's stats. But
I don't know.
If you're overpaying a guy who would probably be the number one center on 25 of 32 teams, $1 million a year, are you upset about that?
No.
So
and also,
I just want to put that to bed because I think it's ridiculous. It's absolutely insane.
Dom does not believe Michael Bunting should be paid 11.4.
No, he doesn't. And I think that's also part of it, right?
This is a model that he is constantly working on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I'm not talking to you. I'm
No, I
talking
know.
to
No.
the room.
I get it. I totally get it. So, long story short, I just think Tavares I think we need to back off the Tavares thing. And what you need to focus on, if anything's not good enough, it's, I'd like to see the fourth line make more of their minutes. You want to talk about something?
They were good last night.
They were. Kyle Clifford.
Without Wayne Train, it made me uncomfortable.
When do we send him out to pasture?
Jesse, how dare you? He's got another year.
Yeah, it's variable, though, mostly.
Yeah, but I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't think you bury it. He's never playing a game in the NHL.
He can be your 13th forward.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. Him and Clifford are... But I got to say, Kyle Clifford played like he wanted a spot in the lineup.
Kyle Clifford had a great game.
He played fresh.
Yeah.
Also, there have been a couple guys on that fourth line recently who don't belong there.
Kerfoot?
Kerfoot and Pasha, they super don't belong there. So that's helping to make it look good. Clifford? Based on that one game, I think it's extended Kyle Clifford look time.
Kyle Clifford needs to play once a week. I don't think
at least.
Yeah, but you got to give him a couple games in order to see what he does.
But I forgot he existed.
Once you sit tight with your lineup, Kyle Clifford isn't in there every day. I think you'll waste his energy like that. I think you bring him in every
and the 43 is
like
messing me up by the Nazem Clifford here. It's messing me right up.
And underratedly, Nick Robertson had a really good game.
Well, his brother was there.
Okay.
He's fired
up. Did you see his mom picked the Leafs jersey to wear rather than the Stars jersey? Now
she had the Stars hat.
She had the Stars hat.
Yeah, she had a Stars hat on and a Leafs jersey.
By the way, her name
it's in Toronto.
I just want to throw this out there. Okay, you guys are both siblings, right? You guys are siblings.
Yeah.
Sure.
I've never had to do this
with each other.
But Jesse,
sure.
Do you think that your parents would have, if it was you and your sister going head to head in a professional sport?
Yeah.
Whose jersey are they wearing?
You picking Bart or Lisa?
They're doing both. Are they going to
do both?
They'll do one will wear one, or they'll do split down the middle jersey.
Okay.
Have you seen those?
I always thought
the Franken jersey.
The Franken jersey is horrific.
Parents know how to do things.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember it reminded me of a moment, and the reason I asked is, sometimes I think parents defer to the younger sibling a little bit because the younger sibling, came along later and needs a little time or whatever, and somehow that carries over into adulthood. But it reminded me of when Rob and Scott Niedermayer were going head to head in the Stanley Cup Finals.
2003. I was just about to say that.
Ducks, Devils.
Yep.
And Scott, they talked to the mom who was in the box, and they said, "Who are you rooting for?" She's like, "Well, Scott's already got one of these, so I'm cheering for Rob." And he was a monster in those playoffs, right?
He was really good. He was, man, that was the little team that could.
That was Babcock.
J.S. Jaguar and his band of merry men.
Yeah. That was Mike Babcock, though.
Was it?
Yeah. Pretty sure.
He won the Conn Smythe in a losing effort. Last guy to ever do it.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah. Question for you guys. I wanted to ask about the third line, which has been steady Eddie all week or all winter long, and it doesn't seem to matter who's on it. It's always David Kampf is playing well, and he always gets like a chance a game, which is shocking to me.
Shorthanded too.
Yeah,
they're awesome shorthanded. I love them.
So what my question is, what of Mikheyev, Kampf, Engvall, and Kasha do you like the best? What combo do you like the best? Because I like the Mikheyev, Kampf, Kasha thing, but the problem is, in that situation, I always find that it's Mikheyev that gets sprung, and then you may as well close your eyes because it's not going in.
Man,
I know he's
so fast.
I know he's so fast, and I know he's got 11 goals, and he got his goal last night. But can be on. Ilya Mikheyev has stone hands.
He's a hell of an empty netter.
He earned the empty netter.
You know what? He's underrated bang and crash guy.
Okay.
Like, a lot of his goals have come from in front of the net. And I mean, we know he's going to be the first one there. So that's good. But yeah, the breakaway, I mean, he'd be better off hard stopping and just taking a slap shot.
Ideally for me, Robertson's not in the lineup.
Really?
Yeah. And then I run with probably Kasha up with Willie and JT.
Yeah. Well, and then
or Kerfoot.
You keep Clifford over Robertson because what do you have Robertson on the fourth line for?
Yeah.
So why do you ideally not have him in the lineup?
I don't think he's there yet. I think Robertson needs some more seasoning. He runs around a lot, which is fun, but I don't think it's the type of hockey the Leafs need to be playing in the playoffs. And I think there's more talented forwards who will help you win 4 out of 7 because that's the whole goal here. And I think Kasha needs to be a little higher in the lineup. And you're not going to waste Kerfoot's minutes. Kerfoot's so talented. And Robertson's the odd man out to me. He's not going to play on the fourth line. Like, he's like, that should be Clifford or Simmons.
He's going to come back next year and be an absolute monster.
Who's it? Robertson?
Robertson. But he's not there yet.
No, sometimes injury prone. I mean, what's he going to do? Are there any push-ups you can do for your bones? He broke his leg, man. Like, I think he's a super hard-working, determined kid. I think he's going to be first in the gym, last out, and he's going to be great next year. We're just not there yet.
I just want to shout Jesse out here for being Nostradamus because David Alter, friend of the show, just tweeted out the practice lines for today. Okay, so you got Bunting, Tavares, Marner, obviously.
Yep.
Nylander, Kerfoot, Kasha.
There you go. Yeah.
And Robertson is back on the fourth line with Clifford and Spezza. So that's one guy that could skate, one guy that could shoot, and one guy that can kill you.
So is Simmons still out?
Simmons is still out, and Matthews is suspended. Those are the two extras at practice. And then
Robertson is on the fourth line.
He is on the fourth line.
Okay.
I mean, you can still use him. The fourth line can be used as like storage.
Yeah.
That's basically what they did with Kasha.
Self-storage.
Yeah, it's here. You're going to be storage, and also, here, second power play.
So I got to ask you this because there is more combinations that I want to talk about. But last night they tried the Riley Lyubushkin lineup together, and then you have
he flattened. Jason
it's funny.
Yeah, he did. He
it's
sure
funny
did.
how little we talk about the defense when there's competent goaltending.
Spear and shield.
Everything kind of works out when you got somebody who stops a puck.
So do you like
too.
Lyubushkin Riley?
So far, I mean, it was one game.
And TJ Brody moves over to the left side.
Yep.
Plays with Justin Hall.
I don't love that.
It was weird.
Okay,
I don't love it.
but we're trying stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I get it.
And then Sandin and Liljegren, who have played together a lot this year. I think they've had really good results considering how old they are.
Liljegren's got 5 assists in his last 6 games.
Sandin with the hands. So
Sandin's
what are we talking about? That fucking goal.
That goal was insane.
After a big hit.
Doesn't he have like a point streak going or something? He scored a lot in the last 5-6 games. Sandin as well.
I don't know. It's difficult because it's been broken up by the injury.
Yes. Yeah. But
illness.
I think that, we talk a lot about Matthews and Bunting and some of the other success stories here. But Sandin and Liljegren look like guys that you cannot scratch every night, and they're like 21 and 22.
Yeah,
and they're defensemen. That is rare, and they're playing together.
Liljegren needs to be used correctly. I think we've discovered that. I just don't like him in front of his own net. Like, that's my big complaint with him.
That's a problem you could fix, by the way.
Yeah, and like his offensive instincts are good. His neutral zone instincts are good. Generally, his decision-making is good. I just don't like him in front of the net. So he's probably not a great partner for Muzzin. You know what I mean? That's fine. That's fine. I am looking forward to the battering ram of Muzzin Lyubushkin.
Yeah. All of a sudden, the Leafs have a very good problem on defense. Because if we're looking at the projected lineups for late in the season or the playoffs, I think you go back to Riley Brody.
That has always worked well.
Yeah, and then you have Muzzin, Lyubushkin, and then Sandin Liljegren. And if you're asking
Hall and Dermott to stay out, that's not bad.
If you're asking Hall and Dermott to stay out, and you're asking Dubas to go get somebody on Monday, who's that guy? Who does he replace? Is it an issue anymore? Do you take that and you go get a you go get a goaltender? I don't know.
Well,
are we asking Dubas to get a defenseman anymore?
They're going out and getting the Middleton from the Sharks.
Middleton's such just a guy.
No, he's good. The Leafs want him, so he's good.
I heard, I think it was like last week or whatever, Colorado was in on Middleton as well. There's a couple teams that are.
Sorry, am I breathing heavily into the microphone?
Yeah, I'm trying to do it subtly, but
sorry, I'm having problems. I guess it's because it's spring-ish, so my nose has been clogged up lately. So I apologize for breathing.
And you hover right here.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm a heavy breather, and I've gone to like ear, nose, and throat guys, and like, there's nothing wrong. I'm like, there is. There's something wrong.
Yeah, don't tell me that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Anyway, sorry.
Middleton's a guy. He's the reports.
He's
like,
the guy.
Stay-at-home defenseman type, But where does he fit in the lineup? Who are we kicking out for Middleton?
Listen. This is all I have on the mind, Jesse. Singularly focused. Package with Reimer.
Well,
Reimer Middleton.
So is that out there?
It's just something I want badly. That's all. Except Does it make sense? Yes, it does. Fuck it. I want it.
How does it make sense?
He's a very good goalie, and I love him.
Okay.
That's how it makes sense. Eat shit.
So the rumor from LeBrun was that Jacob Middleton would cost a second round pick.
Okay, never mind.
For the Leafs to acquire him. He's 26, final year of a 2-way contract that's $725. So, like, Middleton can be an extra defenseman, but
that's an astronomical price.
Second round pick for your seventh defenseman.
Full marks for asking.
Sure.
You always gotta ask.
I mean, it's a rumor worth looking into because Dubas does do deals with the Sharks.
Do you guys want the stat that's highlighted on Middleton's resume?
This is on what, the score? Let's go.
Score.
No, God.
6 blocked shots per 60.
What?
Wow,
that's a lot of blocked shots per 60.
I don't know if that's good.
That's a lot.
That usually, it's a lot, but that usually means you're in the defensive zone and have to block shots.
But
that means that you're not controlling the puck.
That's the debate between Corsi versus Fenwick, right? Because you could argue, you don't have the puck, so it's bad that you're blocking shots. Yep. Or you could argue, well, it's a skill. It's a skill that not everyone can do or is willing to do. And that's just the difference in ideology, really. I mean, who's not losing their mind for a great block shot?
Oh, it's great. The problem is that you don't want it to be your highlight stat because, again...
Well, who's not losing their mind for a 50-save performance?
I love a big hit, but I don't want to lead the league in hits.
Yeah,
it means I don't have the puck.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Sure. I don't mind the Leafs getting a 2-way defenseman who makes $725. That's a good deal. If Dubas goes out and gets Jacob Middleton, I don't mind it, but not for that price.
By the way,
we're in fourth. It's all good.
We're in big show getting spoiled by a trade territory.
Do you think something's going to happen?
Well, it's just we got today and we got Friday, right? And I feel, the wood on the dam, it's creaking.
Midday Friday trades are a thing.
They are.
Oh, yeah. It's ready. That dam is ready to burst.
Yep.
Because what did we get? We got the Josh Manson trade, and there was another one.
Jost.
Yeah, it's a small one, but it's that's the tremor before the full blown earthquake. For Drew, and also Patrick Kane.
I saw the people punching Patrick Kane into the Avalanche's lineup. I'm like, guys, calm down. Calm down, Avalanche fans. Producer Drew.
Yeah. Yo.
You can have
Giroux, producer Drew. But you can't have Patrick Kane.
I knew Drew was in a meeting when that trade broke, so I was just like texting him.
Drew has been heavy on the Twitter lately.
Because
he's like aggressive on the Twitter.
Because he's anxious. He knows this is a big year for the Avs.
It felt like projection. That's what it feels like, producer Drew. It feels like with the Avs fans, it's like, this is really great. This is really great. I sure hope this works. Because this team was unstoppable last year.
Yeah.
They were unstoppable the year before. And I think a little bit the year before. But what happened each time?
No, Drew.
They were stopped.
Drew showed his hand yesterday. The Avs fans are not thinking this is really great. What they're thinking is it's not going to get better than this.
Oh.
And they're right. They got Kadri, final year. It's either this year or next year. Nathan McKinnon's best contract in the league expires.
Mm-hmm. Can you explain the Strome Yost trade anyway? Like, what's that? Sturm, yeah. What's that do?
Yost has a higher ceiling and is younger than Sturm. Sturm is older, but they're both basically the same guy. Like in terms of where they fit in the lineup, like they're bottom line center basically.
Can I tell you the whole purpose of the contract?
Please do.
$1.275 million.
That's what it is.
They traded contracts.
So the Wild probably get the better player. Probably. And if he's not now, he's going to be. But he costs far more money.
Right.
So the Avs save money on the cap. I don't know what it...
So they can make another move.
Yeah. People are like, man, the Avs saved $1.2 million. No, they didn't. Because it's March.
Right.
They saved whatever the rest of the season.
Their deadline cap space is nearing $3 million. It's like 2.9. But since we're on Avs talk,
and Landeskog is on,
we have to talk about their shenanigans.
All right. Yeah.
Why not?
Gabe Landeskog is shenanigans. Are you kidding me? Dude. You're telling me he could have taken surgery in the offseason if he wanted to. If today was game 1 of the playoffs, he wouldn't have had surgery. He would have been out there playing.
Yes, but hockey players are out of their minds and they play with grotesque injuries all the time. I believe that he needed this surgery because hockey players are crazy people.
When did he need it?
Probably months ago.
Yeah.
Okay,
so why did they delay it till now so they could get some extra cap space and then he can come back for the playoffs?
Here's why I tend to, even though it's bullshit,
yes.
I will agree with you that it's bullshit, but it's justified bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
It's justified. A, Tampa did it and they won. B, Vegas is kind of a cautionary tale.
We're going to talk about Vegas.
That's the whole thing.
Well, okay, this is all I'll say about it, but they put their captain on LTIR, and all of a sudden, like, they're maybe not going to make the friggin' playoffs here. But yeah, we'll get to them later. Landeskog, I believe.
You believe what?
I believe that he's a hockey player with messed up knees.
Yeah, I believe that too. I believe he needs surgery. And it's very convenient timing. And it's not a point on the Colorado Avalanche for they didn't break any rules for taking advantage of the rules. It's on the NHL for creating dumb rules. This is another example of the ridiculousness of how the cap is structured and how having guys injured is advantageous to your team if the guys come back and just play.
It's only advantageous. Here's the thing. I think it creates disparity because
it does.
It favors the good teams.
Yep.
Bad teams can't afford to do this.
Yeah.
Good teams can because the Avs are, there's Gabriel Landeskog is a fantastic player and he's the team's captain and they're barely going to miss him because they're that good and they're that deep.
Is he going to be back though? He's coming back, right?
They don't have an exact date or
like
timetable,
arthroscopic probably, so it's not going to like open up his knee and full rehab.
They think he'll be there for the playoffs.
I'm just trying to make sure that people know that because like knee surgery can mean a lot of different things.
Right. Yeah. Could be like PCL and career shortening.
Yeah,
or
totally.
It could be like scope.
It needs to be on number 1 on the list when they renegotiate the CBA is to fix this because it's getting ridiculous. To the way we're looking at guys going out for injuries and timing them perfectly so that you get a cap advantage.
At a certain point, a luxury tax makes a lot more sense, doesn't it?
Well, like why?
Like why are we doing this?
Yeah,
and
because it already exists. It exists for the rich teams.
Like, just to put it into context, what if the Leafs were just like, Peter Mrazek's hurt for the next 2 years. And then they can just, like, we're talking about teams acquiring Shea Weber's contract like it's an awesome idea. Like, there should be no scenario, whether it's for the rich teams or the poor teams, where we're like, it's great this team is acquiring this player who does not play anymore. It doesn't make any sense. And why the better the player, the greater the benefit?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Kucherov makes 9.5, and the Lightning go, hell yeah. Our MVP's out. Lots we can do with that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think if you're deep, you can. But I'm with you, Jesse. I think there needs to be a fix, but I would also say that the rich teams who control the league do not want this to be fixed because it's a cheat code.
Yep.
See, is it the rich teams or is it because like I thought the teams in charge are the cheap ones?
At least they all spend to the cap, though.
Yeah, but Jeremy Jacobs is cheap. He doesn't want to spend above the cap. You know what I mean?
But he does. Montreal does. Toronto does. New York does. Not that far. Okay, that's one team. There's an executive of 8 teams. Right. Jeremy Jacobs, despite Jeremy Jacobs' iron fist, we do know that he can be outvoted.
Yeah, real life Mr. Burns.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, and for just clarification on Joe Sakic's dealings, he has not utilized the LTIR on Landeskog just yet. He hasn't utilized it for Gerard either. Like, he has those both guys, and he can throw them both on LTIR and you get about $12 million in cap space if they stay out till the playoffs.
That's real bad news on Girard, by the way.
Oh, yeah. But he's going to be back. His timetable is before the playoffs, so that's why they're not doing shenanigans with him.
Back injury.
Yeah.
That's, you know what it reminds me of? Gardner.
Oh,
like, he'll be back, but how back will he be?
For the rest of his career, because it's a back injury.
Not necessarily for the rest of his career, but definitely this season you can expect a suboptimal Sam Girard.
I have a friend named Steve Dangle who has back injuries, and I don't expect him to return to the NHL anytime soon.
Do you know how hard I've worked to get my back to be somewhat adequate? Like, holy shit, man. I can't imagine. I don't know how you play hockey with a bad back.
it's the way to carrying a whole network on your back. You know?
Anyway, so
I had such a good workout yesterday. I'm real sore.
Landeskog isn't on the LTIR just yet. He might be very soon, but he's not there yet. And if they do, they can get like $7 million for him to use the Caps for the deadline.
Wouldn't be the first time I was wrong on Landeskog this week. It said he was going to get fined, and then he did not.
Mm-hmm. And the knee surgery happens on Monday, so they get some clarification on that.
So
I believe.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about those Golden Knights. Let's talk about how the Golden Knights have lost 5 games in a row.
Jack Eichel's Vegas Golden Knights.
Let's
you
talk
owe
about
Sabres fans an apology, you piece of shit.
Is your company or business having a tough time hiring the people that you need? Maybe they're on shift and they're on their phone when they shouldn't be. Perhaps when they should be working.
Huh?
For anybody listening, Steve was just laying back in his chair in the middle of this recording.
I was just having a nap.
Listen, all I want to let you know is that Workable can help. Workable accelerates every step of your hiring process from find to hire. You would find the person first before you would hire them.
That's the order.
It helps you cast the widest net possible by posting your jobs to all the top job boards, over 200 in total with just one clip. It helps you evaluate and hire quickly with modern tools like videos and interviews and e-signatures, and Workable will help you automate repetitive tasks like scheduling interviews so you can spend more time on what's important, like making hires, or, I don't know, simply doing your job.
Or having a nap. You could have a nap with that extra time.
So whether you're hiring for your coffee shop or your engineering team or maybe your podcast network, Workable is exactly what you need to hire the right people fast. So you can start today with a risk-free 15-day trial. If during the trial period you hire somebody, and many will, won't cost you a thing. Just go to workable.com to start hiring. Workable is hiring made easy. You smell good.
Thanks, bro.
What are you wearing?
A little bit of that Manscaped moisturizer.
Oh,
not for it's for the rest of your body also.
It's for so it's
not a
body.
Downstairs moisturizer.
No, can you imagine if that's what Adam was smelling?
Listen,
I could.
I
could imagine that.
All right.
People have suggested it. Yeah. Now, if you go to manscaped.com and use the promo code Dangle, 20% off and free shipping. That is our exclusive offer with the Steve Dangle Podcast. Yes? Do you have a problem?
You bet.
Well, no, listen. You can have a whole bunch of things that happen. You're going to get to buy the Performance Package 4.0. You get a whole bunch of things. Some of it's moisturizer.
Some of it.
Some of it's boxer brief.
Body wash.
Body wash?
Body wash is quite nice.
Have you tried the ball deodorant?
Not yet. Have you been hoarding all the ball deodorant, Adam?
I'm just saying it's a part of your performance package.
The deodorizer?
Yeah, the deodorizer.
Yeah.
Which is a deodorant.
For what?
Your balls.
Oh, thank you.
That's right. That's what this is for. And remember, they always use on the trimmers. It's the #1 product in this category, the electric trimmer designed to trim hair on loose skin, which, by the way, can be a bit of a problem. No more nicks and cuts, or at least huge reductions on that. And, of course, that big old flashlight so you can see the whole thing.
How many K?
4,000 K.
Yeah, so you can shave your balls, and then you can, get under there and fix the sink.
But there's other things too, like you said, the body wash, the moisturizer, the shampoo, the conditioner. Steve actually does smell good today. As I walked in the studio, I said, "Steve, you smell very good," and he said, "Thanks." That's Manscaped. And what did Mrs. Dangle say to you?
She said she likes it.
That's right.
She ships it.
She ships. She told you to wear it. So go to manscaped.com for our exclusive offer, 20% off and free shipping with the promo code DANGLE. Let's talk about how the Vegas Golden Knights have won 5 of their last 15.
Let's talk about how the Stars are 1 point behind them with 4 games in hand. Leafs did you a big favor, Vegas.
Now, Robin Lehner is out with an injury, is he not?
Mm-hmm. I think he is, but also he's been bad.
Frank Seravalli.
They need a goal.
Frank Seravalli mentioned earlier a couple weeks ago that they had expressed some interest. Now, the Golden Knights vehemently deny this. They had expressed interest in Marc-Andre Fleury.
That is so interesting.
So, listen, if the Golden Knights hadn't gotten rid of Marc-Andre Fleury, they would not have Jack Eichel right now, right?
That's true.
So that it just wouldn't have been possible to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I say gotten rid of because they traded him for literally nothing.
Yeah.
And he found out on Twitter.
I forgot the guy's name. That used to be my favorite trivia thing, and now I don't even remember it.
What do you mean?
The guy who they traded him for.
Oh, yeah. It was like, who knows?
He's Finnish. That's all I know.
Yeah. Who knows? Who cares? And I just think it's funny.
How
a team that gave up the goalie that won the Vezina for nothing is now struggling with goaltending issues. And listen, I want the Golden Knights to succeed. It's a fun fan base. You want Jack Eichel to succeed. That's a fun storyline, right? And I don't think you can pin this one on Jack. I just got back from neck surgery, Eichel.
Yeah, seriously. Like
people are like, oh, this guy sucks. I'm like, okay, all right, you go do anything after a neck surgery. Talk to me.
He's playing particularly admirably,
considering
he is recovering from neck surgery and hasn't played hockey in a year.
Right.
I don't want to give Kelly McCrimmon I don't want to cut him a break, you know? No. I don't want to be like, hey, this is benefit of doubt, Mr. McCrimmon. But the Vegas Golden Knights over the last month have put an all-star team on LTIR. And that's none of it's their fault.
Oh, Elliot Friedman was going through their LTIR on 32 Thoughts. So I was like, oh man, does Vegas suck now? And then he went through the list. I'm like, holy shit.
So currently,
they should be a cup contender.
Currently out for the Vegas Golden Knights: Robin Lehner, Riley Smith, Braden McNabb, Matthias Janmark, Brett Howden, Mark Stone, Alec Martinez, Jake Bischoff. That's a team and a half. How are you supposed to contend when you got, I don't even know how many guys, 3, 6, 7, 8 guys who should be in your lineup out of the lineup?
I'll tell you how.
8 guys.
You put them all on LTIR and you go load up for the trade deadline.
Take 8 Leafs off the roster.
Oh, they're going to be terrible.
Tell me they're going to make the playoffs.
Garbage. They're going to be
8 players.
Absolute garbage. They don't have Jack Campbell right now, and Austin Matthews isn't in the lineup, and I'm freaked out.
Yeah.
I want a camera crew to follow around the post-deadline tandem of Robin Lehner and James Reimer.
You think that's what's going to happen?
My favorite odd couple buddy cop movie ever.
Oh, they'd be so cute together.
Could they be more different? I'm not sure.
But they're very kind, both of them.
Yeah, but very different types of kind.
Yeah.
I want to see it. Well, yeah, okay. I think the real buddy cop movie would be James Reimer and Mike Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But shoving buddies, little bit of that, but they need a goalie. They don't necessarily need a world beater.
Yeah, well, you can't do it with Logan Thompson and Laurent Brossoit. You can't.
I don't know who Logan Thompson is.
There you go. That's what I'm saying. Those are their goalies. That's who they. By the way, they had to pull one of them and put the other one in. Who got pulled? Who cares? Doesn't matter. That's what happened last night.
Oh heavens!
When you let the Winnipeg Jets steamroll you 7-3 at the end of a 5, this is your 5th game in a row you're going to lose, and they steamroll you. Now, again, Jesse, I think you're absolutely right. It's difficult when that many players are out, especially Pacioretty, Lehner, Stone, Martinez. Those are big names on this team.
Even Riley Smith was having a year.
He was.
Yeah.
He was. But
really good player.
This is, former Leaf Michael Amadio still has a spot in the lineup.
I love it.
How crazy is that?
Didn't they have, who do they have? They had 3 Leafs 4th line centers.
They had Adam Brooks at one point, and I think Adam Brooks is now in Winnipeg.
Yes.
Which is his home city.
He is. That's right.
That's nice for him. But all that to say, I do find it, I'm going to watch with interest, because here's the thing.
Do you think it's funny how?
If you have a goaltender there that's competent, maybe you lose 3 of 5, but you didn't lose all 5.
They need points. They need points of any kind.
They need points right now. You can't help the fact that you've lost this many players to injury, but if you have a competent goaltender, you're going to probably still make the playoffs, considering where they started. But this is already past damaged, right? This is a problem. They are in free fall right now.
And the Stars just really nipping at their heels. Dude, the Canucks are right in there too.
Yeah, they're making a run.
Canucks are 1 point back.
Man, the Canucks making the playoffs, what a story that would be.
They've just been hanging around.
Jim Benning would be like, I was right the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh,
see, I told you they could.
See, idiots.
Edmonton hires him as their next GM. That's right, Oilers fans. I just put that on you.
Edmonton, who's been the beneficiary of everybody around them being kind of awful. You know, they've
what have they made? But what have they made of it, Jesse?
Like last night, they won, even though Koskinen allowed 5 goals. Like
Detroit has a brand, don't they?
Detroit is so good at scoring so many goals and allowing a lot of more goals.
Thomas Greiss was pulled in the first 5 minutes.
Oh, so it was Greiss.
Yeah, and then Nedeljkovic comes in and lets another one in before the end of the third or first. Like
that tandem is
it's but Greiss was good and Nedeljkovic was good. What happened when they put on the Red Wing jersey?
They played for the Red Wings.
I guess, but are they that? I mean, listen, I think if there's one person you can pin this on, it's Moritz Seider, which is why he shouldn't win the Calder Trophy.
Amen.
Am I right?
Amen.
Am I right?
Sucks. Garbage player.
Right? People are like, hey, Bunting didn't score last night. I guess Seider's in the lead. Did you see him play in the game? Woo!
Seider actually looked.
He actually had a really good
I've got a new take.
He had a good defensive
I got a new take.
I'm just
on
giving
the,
it. I have to give Detroit fans shit.
I got a new take on the Calder Trophy discussion.
Take it. Go take.
Moritz Seider's too young to win the Calder.
Wait!
How about that one?
I love it.
What if we do that anti-take?
What do you
go with it?
Now, tell me how that would work.
If
we were to take that position, lawyer Jesse Blake, tell me how you would argue that in court.
Seider, he's too young to win the Calder. Is my premise.
Right.
You know, I think there's no experience there. The Calder Trophy should go to somebody who has learned the NHL game
before getting to the NHL.
No, within this first year of the NHL. It's a rookie. It's a rookie trophy. Within his first year at 19, he's not mature enough out there. He doesn't have the skill set developed. I get he's putting up the points.
Yeah.
But his brain, his attitude at that ripe age of 19 isn't quite there. And I want to give it to the guy who's 26, who's an adult in his first year in the NHL, has learned to be an NHLer, a professional, because that's what this is about. It's about playing the game of hockey as a professional.
Yeah.
And Moritz Seider's out there like he's still in junior.
Yeah.
I rest my case, Your Honor. Adam, Moritz Seider wins the Calder. All right? Let's have this scenario. He probably gets some sort of bonus.
Right? I think you do get a Calder bonus, don't you?
Probably. He goes to the NHL awards.
Yeah, wins the Calder.
Wins the Calder. Goes up there. He accepts the award.
Yeah. When
he goes backstage, he sees all his friends and family. After that, his friends and family all want to go out to celebrate.
Right.
And then what's something that you celebrate with?
Alcohol.
Go to jail.
Oh. So
he can't do it.
So he'll have to go to Chuck E. Cheese to celebrate.
Yeah.
It's in
like
Canada.
the rest of us.
Unless it's in Canada. In that case, don't go to jail.
By the way,
straight to jail.
I heard this crazy historical fact. Can I just tell you guys something? This is crazy.
Let me hear it.
So the drinking age in the United States used to be 18.
I don't know.
And it used to be 18 in Canada as well, because you were an adult and could hold a gun and go to war. Why can't you have a drink?
It's 18 in a lot of parts of Canada, just not this one.
Yeah, not this one, which is also stupid.
It gets like even younger in some places, isn't it? Like 17 in some provinces.
I don't know about that.
I don't think so.
No, I think it was like I think it's adults. And in Europe, it's like 12. If you're Italian, you've like chugged wine, but you don't chug wine.
I never got a clear answer. Like when I was in the UK, I'm like, so what is drinking age here? They're like,
But apparently, and I don't know, I haven't looked into this, but apparently the reason it's 21 in the States is because Ronald Reagan in the early 80s, like ultra conservative guy, came in and wanted to up the drinking age because they thought it would help people stop people from binge drinking in college and focus on their studies. And so what he did was he said to all the states, unless you up your drinking age, you're not getting any money for your highways and infrastructure this year.
Wow.
And then they all basically turned on it and did it.
Well, now they got their highways.
Isn't that crazy?
Switch it back.
Yeah, switch it back. And apparently also there's been studies done, and it leads to more binge drinking when you can't drink till you're 21.
Dude,
isn't that crazy?
I
just thought that was nuts. I'm like, that is so stupid. I cannot believe that happened.
Drinking is more fun when it's illegal.
It is way more. It stopped being fun the second I turned 19.
If Detroit was really smart, they would create a cider that's Seider's cider when he turns 21. And then you could celebrate with cider. Go drinking at 21.
Well,
I like a good cider.
2 seasons from now, when he's I don't know, it's still up for the Calder because they're mad about bunting, so they changed the criteria, and you're allowed to win it for 5 different years. You know, maybe then. But
you could
right
start,
now, too young. Go to
You
jail.
could start a good pub, and you could call it More Eats and Cider.
What?
Oh,
Just
man.
I would do that in Detroit. I would do More Eats and Cider.
I don't know.
Yeah, come on. So you get some good food.
You know
get
what?
some cider.
I'm upset, but he's right.
I mean, come on. That's a perfect business opportunity.
More eats,
Cider.
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 It's
Yeah.
just a list of the things that you like.
Yeah. Eat a lot and drink cider.
Cider. I like it.
Come on.
Big
Guys,
in the fall.
Come
Big-
on.
Big in the fall.
Big money ideas here coming out of this cranium. I want to read you guys something that broke during the show.
Ugh.
It's a press release from Peter Holland, and I read this because I'm like, I wonder if there's anything interesting in here. And it
Peter
turns-
Holland?
Peter Holland,
Like the
former
former
Toronto
Leaf?
Maple Leaf,
Oh.
former, I believe, Anaheim Duck, Arizona Coyote, and he was the guy that the Leafs brought in
Ranger.
when they had no centerman.
No.
And we were really hoping Peter Holland, he's a former first-round pick. We were really hoping that he was going to.
Peter, do you want a spot in an NHL lineup? Yeah, sure. Do we have an opportunity for you?
100%.
You're going to be first-line center tomorrow.
So
Yeah.
Peter Holland sends this out. Said, press release. I have decided to step away from the game of hockey. It feels weird to say retire, but I guess that's what it is. I'm not sure if a Twitter thread is an appropriate form to announce this, but when you're a bubble guy, there's no press conference or banner raising or puck drop at center ice, so here it is. It's strange to think that something which has been a part of me since before I can remember will no longer be a part of my future. This was not an easy decision, but in order to be honest with myself, it was time to confront the reality that hockey had become unenjoyable for me. I was no longer committed to getting better, and therefore I was getting worse. It was an unsustainable trajectory, not only for my career, but also for my mental health, and therefore it was better to stop altogether. Also, life comes at you fast. With a young family of my own, having to pack up every 6 to 8 months and being away from extended family, sometimes as far as 10 hours apart, just wasn't worth it anymore. But perhaps more importantly, and don't worry guys, I'm getting to the part where I think you'll find extremely interesting. I'm doing it on my own terms with my health, something not to be taken for granted, especially after playing a highly competitive physical game professionally for over a decade, and not to mention 15 years before that. Admittedly, my passion for the game really fell off a cliff the moment I was traded out of Toronto. I could never rekindle that spark I had when wearing a Leaf jersey. It was like my hockey path was always destined to allow me to wear my boyhood colors, the blue and white, and wow, am I ever blessed to have gotten that opportunity. Once that was over, it was as though I had accomplished the pinnacle of all my hopes and dreams. Did I dream of hoisting a Stanley Cup? Heck yeah. But as a boy, to even make it to the NHL was a long shot. So what are the odds I was going to get to play for my team too? There's just some things in the world that you can't explain. And so he goes on to talk about his family, being a part of the community, working with sick kids. I remember actually Peter Holland and the Toronto Maple Leafs were sort of like locked in a will they, won't they RFA conversation, but he still came into breakfast television, repping the Toronto Maple Leafs, talking about sick kids, and was really great that morning. And believe me, not every professional athlete's great at 6 a.m., and he was spectacular.
I remember we had like a tongue-in-cheek thing with him where the Leafs sent him to everything because he was the local guy who lived there.
Yeah.
Back when there weren't a ton of those. Now there's lots.
Yep.
But yeah, he was a local guy who wanted to be there at a time where no one really wanted to be there.
Finally, if I can offer my advice, and this is an 18-tweet thread, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. So finally, if I can offer my advice to parents of young hockey players out there, let them decide how much they want to play. I played multiple sports growing up. It was never just hockey. I played flag football, basketball, volleyball, competed in track and field, golf, and competitive soccer. I truly believe I loved hockey as long as I did because I didn't burn out of it. If your kids are lucky enough for hockey to become a job, that's great, but I promise they'll miss those days when it wasn't. That's it. Thanks for reading and taking part in my Twitter press retirement conference. So, Peter Holland. I thought it was interesting, and I think the way it ended in Toronto, you have to look at the way his career ended in Toronto differently.
It's terrible.
Well, it's because Mike Babcock came in, and Mike is one of those guys who decides he doesn't like you, and then there's no way to win.
For those of us who don't know how it ended, can you go through how it ended?
Well, so you know how there was Frevo with Josh Levo and Frank Corrado. Peter Holland got that treatment too. It just wasn't as high profile. And I think the torture for him is Peter Holland's time with the Toronto Maple Leafs was done long before he was traded.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was necessarily his fault. He was on a different and rebuilding team with a coach that didn't want him. Very obviously didn't want him. And at that point, you're looking for an opportunity to get into the lineup, or you're looking at what is best for your career, and that's to get traded. And sure enough, he goes to the Arizona Coyotes, and a week or two later, he's back in Toronto, scores the shootout winner.
Yes, I remember. Oh, and so Toronto Maple Leafs for a guy to come back and do that.
Which was a big TV moment for me. Oh. That was hilarious, because before the game, I literally said, how on the pregame show, I said, how is he going to do it? And they sort of followed it throughout the show, and they're like, oh my God, he was right. No, of course I was right. I'm a Leaf fan. I go with the worst case scenario, and then it happens. It's not that hard. But I'm sad for him that that's the way it went. I hate hearing that story, and I've heard it from a lot of guys. Remember the story of Stefan Legion?
So I sort of remember it. I remember watching him play for Team Canada and stuff, but can you give me that?
So Stefan Legion, I think, was a second-round pick of the Columbus Blue Jackets, played for Team Canada, had some sort of injury before the gold medal game. His arm was in a sling, so he couldn't play, but he was out there getting the gold medal. And he retired at 19 because he just didn't love the game anymore. He didn't love it. He ended up coming back.
He went on a fishing boat for a year, didn't he? Wasn't that him?
I don't remember.
There was another player just like that who fell out of love with the game. Paul Ranger was another guy that could have been a pretty strong defenseman, played for the Leafs for a bit, I think played for the Bolts for a bit, was a high draft pick.
So I had heard that one of Steve Yzerman's first orders of business when he became GM of the Lightning, so Paul Ranger had already been away from the Lightning for quite some time. Steve Yzerman came to the Lightning, and he offered Paul Ranger money, like a couple $1 million, and he said no.
Yeah.
And it's not like he stopped playing. I would go to I'd be working at the zoo, and I'd be talking to guys, and they'd be like, yeah, I was playing hockey last night, and there was this guy who was unbelievable, and it was Paul Ranger. And he would just wreck Durham rec league hockey.
Yeah.
He was the best rec league player because he was very clearly an NHL player still, but it wasn't for him.
Right.
He's a guy who still seemed to love hockey, but he didn't love the league. It's my understanding the Leafs offered him an NHL deal, and he said, what about the AHL? And they were like, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. He wanted to get back into it that way. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it happens with those guys.
So my friend is friends with somebody who was a high draft choice. My friend Philippe was friends with a guy who was a high draft choice in the NHL.
Sidney Crosby?
No. But this guy never panned out to be anything.
Crosby.
But he was supposed to be.
It's true.
Yeah, Crosby's garbage. Moritz Seider is going to be the next Crosby. Garbage, both of them. It's just fun at this point. I
hope Red Wings fans know.
Do you know how many of them are in my every time Moritz Seider breathes, I'm getting tweets now. It's great. So my friend Philippe's friend was big guy, scored a bunch in junior, and got drafted and quit. Another guy just quit. And they were saying he had a stature, he was big like Eric Lindros was big back in the day and could move. Would have been a very good NHL player, but just didn't care anymore. And apparently this guy didn't put on skates for 10 years. He just stopped.
I believe it.
I have another person that I used to know that, made it to the Peterborough Petes, and after the first day of camp, 16 years old or 15 years old or whatever it was, said, I can't do this anymore, and quit, and has never played hockey since, and he's in his 30s.
Oh.
It's crazy. Sometimes it's just, okay, I'm done now. I can't do this anymore. Yeah. And he said, I didn't have a childhood. I played hockey 7 nights a week.
Well, even think of the OHL. Their schedule is 68 games.
It's a lot of games.
I think. But, think back to high school. Think back to how stressful high school was, as a teenager, right? As an adult, you can handle high school, no problem.
Sure.
But, with all the tools I have now as a 34-year-old man, I'd
be able to manage it.
I would crush math class. But, when I was 14, I didn't have the tools, right? 20 years ago. So it was stressful. Now, imagine you're spending hours and hours and hours a week on the bus and at practice, and you're playing all these games, and dudes are trying to take your head off, and they're twice your size, and they're scouts, and there's millions of dollars at stake.
And your parents are relying on you.
And you've already been doing this for over half a decade.
Yeah.
Right? You know, all those road trips and everything. I understand burnout on that level, absolutely. It makes me feel especially sad for Peter Holland because he holds a special place in my heart just because I got to talk to him when he was in junior, and now he's got me blocked, and I'm not 100% sure why. We talked about that on the show before, too.
I don't know that. Peter Holland blocked you?
Yeah, we talked about this. I don't know why. I hope I wasn't rude to him. I have a feeling it might have something to do with his departure from Toronto and Babcock's quote about, you know, some guys thought they could hang here and they went somewhere else and they discovered they couldn't.
Right. Which was about Peter Holland.
Yeah, it doesn't help that he's fucking kicking guys on the way out. That's super unnecessary. How many coaches do that? But I still remember interviewing him center ice with the Guelph Storm. We had the whole arena to ourselves. We hopped the glass to do it, too. We couldn't get onto the ice, and we both agreed to hop the glass. And as I'm watching him climb, I'm like, okay, first of all, this is going to be much harder for me to get over because he's an athlete and I'm not. Second of all, if he lands funny and tears his knee, this dude's a projected first rounder. Like,
yeah,
I'm never going to work again.
That's scary.
And I remember he took it really seriously. I had my notes with me for the interview, and he was looking through them and seeing where he was in the draft rankings and everything. And, you know, just a really well-spoken guy, big frame, good scorer. He was part of the Guelph Storm had a ton of players that year who were supposed to make it, and a lot of them didn't really have the same the career that was expected of them. It was him. It was Michael Latta another guy.
Wow, yeah.
Trying to remember who else. There was one other guy who was on that team who was highly touted. It's a shame, but I'm glad like he's made that discovery about himself, and this is a decision that is difficult to make. Peter Holland could absolutely play hockey somewhere.
Well, he was playing in Djurgården in Sweden.
Djurgården, yeah.
Djurgården, and Optimalist.
So Optimalist,
Yekaterinburg, right?
Yes. So that is Joffrey Lupul lasted 9 games there.
And he did 2 seasons and had 43 points and 36 points. Pretty good.
North Americans lasting in the KHL's Eastern Conference is rare. It's usually you're a mercenary. You go in, you get your money, you get the hell out. There's rare examples of guys sticking. Jesse Blacker, Nigel Dawes, and not a ton of other people. It's in the same way that North America might be a culture shock for some Russian players. Yeah. Eastern Russia is a culture shock for Canadian and American players. And a lot of them don't last very long.
I can see that. It would be different. It'd be very different.
Yeah. They have a super cool logo.
Yeah.
But Lupul lasted 9 games there.
Yeah. So like, you know, I just wanted to say I thought that was a really interesting thing. And by the way, most players go out like Peter Holland did. They don't get the puck drop. They don't get the press conference. They just go.
Mm-hmm. And like, you know, he might have made more than you or I throughout most of his career, but like now he's 31.
That's what I mean.
Right.
He's 31. Okay, now what? 30 years of working life left, maybe. Also, by the way, let me just throw this out there. Peter Holland's younger than us, and he's retiring. That's scary. It's happening, Steve. It's happening more and more.
Oh, I know.
Wayne Simmons is our age.
Oh, dude, junior guys are retiring. I saw Louis LeBlanc play in an alumni game. That dude's younger than us too.
Yeah.
Same draft class, I think.
I was going to say, to your point where most guys go out with a whimper, that's why books like Ken Reed's One Night Only are so fascinating. Because that is the majority of stories. Guys who get like 5 games in the NHL and then are gone. His specifically is for guys who get 1 game, you know, and then never reach it again. But that is the majority of these NHL players. It's the rare case where you get the 10-year career.
I'm a little upset that Ken Reed has given up on the audiobook thing.
What do you mean?
Because I would really like if he would translate some of those into audiobooks.
I narrated my own audiobook, and Ken did that for one of his books, and that's why he hasn't done it for 2 of his books.
I've heard it's I've heard it's really hard.
I enjoyed the experience, but it was tiring. I'd do it again. Whereas Ken is like, nope, don't have time for that.
He doesn't have somebody just to, like, the publisher is not just going to get somebody to do the other 2?
I think you have to pay for that. Right? Don't you? I imagine you'd have to pay for that.
It might come out of your, because I got paid to record my own. But yeah, it's true. I wonder if it comes out
of the royalties or whatever.
Cut.
Yeah.
And I mean, you don't write books to get rich.
Not in Canada.
Not in Canada.
No. Anyway, shout out to Peter Holland on a great career, and really enjoyed that Twitter thread. Let's do the press conference. Our next partner is a pretty cool product. Let's talk about Athletic Greens. Now, if you're looking to get better gut health, more energy, a stronger immune system, the really easy, natural way to do it is Athletic Greens. And I'm sure you'll agree, not all of us are huge fans of having to take a bunch of vitamins in the morning.
No, I always forget.
Do you get yours laid out for you?
No.
Okay, so one of my friends, his girlfriend, they've only lived together for like 8 months. She actually bought him like a pill thing, and then like does his pills at the beginning of the week, and he has to.
What?
Yeah, yeah, seriously. Yeah, I won't mention it who, but I will tell you who after the show. But yes, that's what happened.
I think I know who.
Yeah, I think you know. We both know who
that is.
So Athletic Greens, you can get rid of all that. All you have to do is drink it. Athletic Greens is an all-in-one solution that actually tastes good. So you'll actually enjoy your daily vitamins, which is great. And like I keep telling you, keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, gluten-free, whatever you eat, it works. And less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything, and it still tastes good. So right now, it's the time to reclaim your health and potentially your time on Sunday when you're putting out your pills like an old man.
In a box.
It's convenient daily nutrition, especially at the end of cold and flu season, which we're still in. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is go to athleticgreens.com and use that promo code STP. So athleticgreens.com/STP. Again, athleticgreens.com/STP to take ownership of your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. You guys thinking about buying a car this year?
Like half a dozen.
Okay, well, that's good. That's good.
I'm going to buy a full dozen.
See, thanks to Edmunds for sponsoring the show. We want you to check them out. Car shopping can be confusing. It can be stressful. And if you're trying to buy half a dozen cars like Steve is with his big YouTube dollars.
Yeah.
That must be
Baker's
what
dozen.
There it is. There it is.
That's 13.
Yep.
There are plenty of top 10 lists, 50 years of trusted shopping advice on cars, price guidance. It's all in one place. Edmunds is unbiased research, reviews, and industry expertise to help empower car shoppers just like you to make the best decision. It's free, and there are online tools that can help you compare and go to dealer quotes and figure out your budget and your financing and get your appraisal for your trade-in, which is important too because one car pushes through the next one. You don't want to go a day or two.
What do you drive right now, Steve?
A
Mazda?
Yeah.
You could trade that in with Edmunds.
You could.
And get a
They would tell you right now what your Mazda's worth.
Well, and then I'll get 7 because since Jesse's getting 13, I want to even 20.
Car shopping can be overwhelming. Edmunds is here to help. Visit Edmunds.com and click on Edmunds Best Car Rankings to research and compare vehicles. That's Edmunds, EDMUNDS.com. Edmunds, we drive it like it is. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Now, Steve could tell you relationships take work.
Yeah.
Take our 3-way marriage, for instance. It's taken work.
It has, but look at the fruits of our labor.
Absolutely. A lot of us will drop anything to go help someone we care about. I would do that for Steve. Steve would do that for me. Jesse would do that for us. We would do that for Jesse. But do we go out of the way to treat ourselves the same way we would treat our friends?
We rarely do.
Yeah, usually not.
Not so much. So please, as people who go to therapy, I go to therapy at least once a month. BetterHelp is definitely something you should check out. Online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist. So even the people that you love, you can talk about a little bit and go, how do I solve this problem? And they can tell you. And it's a way that whatever's comfortable with you. Because I think what freaks out a lot of people about therapy is they don't want to stand or sit eye to eye with a person and go, here's where I feel inadequate. That's very difficult for some people.
There's a level of vulnerability.
100%.
Look in the camera at him and see how vulnerable it can be. No, your solo camera.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not good at this. That didn't feel good. But you can have video chat sessions. You can do just chat, like text chat sessions. And it's all more affordable than most in-person therapy. And you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours too. And that's the great thing about BetterHelp is it's quick. Give it a try and see what over 2 million people have used and found with BetterHelp, and their lives are much better for it. You should check it out. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp.com/STP. So Steve Dangle Podcast listeners, you get 10% off the first month at BetterHelp.com/STP. That's BetterHelp.com/STP.
The Presser. STP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
And one quick thing before we get into it, I do want to mention, and I didn't realize I'd done this, but I scooped Julian and Chris on their episodes next week. They will have one Sunday morning pre-deadline. They will have another one Tuesday post-deadline. The SDP will also do Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday next week. Steve is obviously unavailable to us because he's got Sportsnet.
I got work.
You got some serious work to do. And to be honest with you, nobody wants a pre-deadline show the day of, right? You want it on the Sunday. You do not want it on the Monday because what's the effing point?
Well, and CJ is going to be up for like 48 hours, so...
Yeah, I'm surprised he even wanted to do Tuesday, but it should be spectacular.
Shows passion for it, doesn't it?
Well, and you could see like the show is just in its element right now. Oh. They are killing it, so please check them out. And there's a new Noxie and Cax out, right, Jesse?
There is, but I wanted to get to a more important show on the network.
Whoa!
Sorry, Noxie and Cax. No, I'm just joking. Noxie and Cax yesterday were joined by Megan Turner, who is a member of Team Bauer, the Boston region of the PWHPA. And one thing they hit on that was very fascinating was that people like to make there's a war between the PHF and the PWHPA. And they were like, amongst the players, there is no war. Like, there might be a war amongst management and building these two leagues, and there might be two women's league professional leagues, but
I believe that
all the players, they're friends. They're like, oh yeah, we hang out with the girls all the time. We go to their games. We're good. So don't think the women are infighting with these two
Here's what you need to do.
Here's
what you need to do. Support women's sports.
Yeah.
There you go.
That was the whole point.
Support it the best way that you can possibly. Yeah. Don't make it about them against each other.
Exactly.
I was in an elevator with a bunch of the Canadian women's team at the outdoor game.
Were you?
Yeah, and no one had to push any buttons. The elevator just went, and
that's
levitated
cool.
on its own because they were all wearing their gold medals. They put them together and they glowed and the whole thing just rose all the way to the 7th floor. Very convenient.
So go check out Noxie and Cax. There's a new episode tomorrow as well. That'll drop around, I think, 1 or noon tomorrow. But today, there's an episode of Agent Provocateur with Frank Seravalli and Alan Walsh and our dear friend Alan.
Agent Provocateur.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Provocateur.
Provocateur.
CJ said it really messed up on the last
on
the Chris Johnson show. I was listening to it on the way here, and I was like, we're just going to gloss over that, CJ.
How funny is that? I want to play a little clip from Agent Provocateur. It's out right now. You can go listen to it, and here's a little preview of the kind of conversations you'll get, and then Adam will go into a deep.
I've always had a beef with the NHL putting games on deadline day. And I think that it is not too much of an effort to just make sure on that one day of the year when all of this is going on, that players not have to play games that evening. They're so distracted during the day. Nobody's taking a nap. You've got teams in the air. You've got teams on the ice at practice. Every Canadian team, every 15 minutes, a report from the practice rink of wherever they are. And I just think there shouldn't be games that night.
Of all the beefs that you have with the NHL, this might be the most reasonable.
That's Frank Seravalli.
Can you tell us about the episode?
Yeah, so the whole thing was I've wanted to do this pretty much since the beginning. When I first talked to Alan last summer, my thing was like, wait till trade deadline. We can do trade deadline from an agent's perspective. We get the player perspective. We get the coach perspective, coach and GM perspective. Sometimes we even get the family perspective. Hey, how's your wife and kids? Sometimes they ask that when someone gets traded. But we never get the agent. And no one ever asked the insiders or the agents, how are you? How are you doing? And but what's interesting is Alan and Frank both said it's pretty much the worst week of the year. Like the most anxiety around this week. Like, obviously, they understand it. It's exciting for everybody else, but for them, not an exciting time. And you can see throughout, Frank is checking his phone, looking at his phone. Alan's checking, looking at, Alan tries his best to put his phone down. But at the end of the podcast, we ask him how many calls he's missed, and it's 24.
Whoa.
In an hour. 24. That means he could have been on a call for 2 minutes. Each of those calls for 2 minutes, and that's how we would have got through 24.
Or it was one person.
Could be one. It could have been one person. I bet it's Huberdeau saying MVP, right?
MVP. Yeah. It's just 24 voicemails that just say MVP.
There's another moment in the podcast where Frank Seravalli goes into a story about the Dominic Ducharme firing. And
right, because he got into it with someone about that.
He broke the story, and he broke it a little too early because he broke it around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then it was a big deal. And afterwards, somebody hit him up and they said, there's a reason the Ducharme firing wasn't announced. It was because his kids weren't home from school yet. And they didn't want his kids to walk in the front door knowing their dad got fired. And he said, this is the and he's like, I didn't know that when I hit send on the tweet.
Yeah,
and
no one told him.
This is the delicate balance that insiders have with these real life people who have lives and families and everything. And he's like, that's an incident where I just didn't know and I hit send and his kids found out and they knew before they got home, before their dad could tell them.
It was like when, I don't know
Yeah.
if you remember this, but John Liu at TSN in Montreal, who is a spectacular reporter, above board on everything.
Ever since I was a kid.
I think he accidentally broke that Carey Price and Carey Price's wife were that they were having a baby or something.
Oh, I do seem to remember something about that.
You could not, like, he tweeted an apology. He had one on the air, like, could not be more apologetic. But that's what, you're dealing with. Very sensitive things like that, right? And it wasn't like Carey Price is pregnant or Carey Price's wife is pregnant. It was more like, hey, and, they're having a baby and blah, blah, blah. It's something that came out in conversation. And it's just...
But they hadn't told the world yet.
Yeah. So anyway, long story short, fascinating episode. Great to get those. And the trade deadline is honestly, what we all live for here. Trade deadline, free agency, draft. It's all fun. So let's enjoy it while they hate it.
Good for Frank for being open to like telling that story because that's embarrassing, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lesson there.
Yeah, 100%. Do you have any questions, Jesse?
Yeah. I'm gonna clip that one. That's gonna be up on our Twitter if you want to watch that little clip from the episode, and then go watch the full episode. So this question comes from Phil Bex because the Calder Trophy has been such a conversation on our show. Phil Bex asks, "What do you guys think about an end of season award for the best player 35 plus?"
I love that
you
idea.
award longevity and talent.
Yeah, I love that idea.
That's kind of cool, right?
What do you call it?
Joe Thornton Award? No, the Jaromir Jagr Award.
Yeah.
Gordie Howe?
Gordie Howe even, yeah.
Gordie Howe would be the guy. You have to be Jaromir or Gordie. And Gordie played into his 50s in the NHL.
Mm-hmm. Gordie Howe. Do they have?
I know they don't even have a Gordie Howe.
Is there anything after Howe?
See, I've always thought they should have, and people are going to laugh at me because I don't rate assists as high as I rate goals. But that doesn't mean that they're not important. I just think goals are more important.
Mm-hmm.
They should have the Wayne Gretzky Award should be most assists because Gretzky would get like 100 a year.
Yep.
That should be absolutely an award.
Oh, you mean the Jonathan Huberdeau Award?
Well, there you go. It would have his name stapled on it for sure.
What's your problem?
I love the veteran. I love the veteran award. I love whatever that.
That's
what
a
is.
good idea, right?
What's like
like
who's the most like Joe Thornton has got to be the most embodiment lately of a guy who's like grizzled veteran who's old, but Gordie Howe has got to be.
Yeah,
the old and good award.
I like the idea of Jagr.
Yeah, Joe Thornton can win it if he wants, but no, it's got to be Jagr, Chelios, or Howe, even Bauer.
Well, and I like the idea too of it not being a North American. No offense to Gordie Howe, but like there's a lot of awards that are just named after North Americans. Everything's North American.
I get that.
So it'd be nice to include someone else.
The Jaromir Jagr Award of Longevity.
Yeah,
I think it just needs to be the award title. They don't do the Rocket Richard of scoring goals.
No, we'll call it
the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
We'll call it the We Can't Buy Out Your Contract Award.
Oh, there you go.
Because at 35 plus, remember, it's a full
Can't
buyout.
buy it out.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I thought it was a great idea. I thought I'd bring it up. Last thing.
It's going to be boring when Ovechkin wins it for the first 5 years.
Two things, actually. Wesbo says Arizona's 8-3 since they got Richie.
Yo, Richie's been on fire.
So funny.
It's yeah. And honestly, good for Nick Ritchie. Like, I know...
Not cheering against him?
No, we wanted him to work. We wanted him to succeed here.
Yeah, now he's playing in the NHL, scoring, and still making $2.5 million.
Good for him.
He's winning.
Yep.
And the last thing Miranda wants to know, what the hell is up with the Leafs and so many bench minors?
Man, they've been guilty of that for a while.
Since Babcock. I don't get it. I don't get it. I wish I had an explanation.
Bench minor leaders.
They're a lazy line-changing team. Like, they have been for years. Like, it's the one thing NHL players do that always mystifies me. Like, whenever I see a guy casually gliding on one blade towards the bench. I'm like, you're in an NHL game.
They do
right?
that every shift.
Yeah. Willie does it really badly. But even like a guy like Mikheyev I saw the other day. I'm like, what
the left foot glide with the stick up, just go on the bench.
Get on the fuck. You're not on the play anymore. Get out of here. The longer you're on the ice, the more the guy who just hopped over the boards for you is risking putting the team down and can't play. Literally cannot play.
And it comes down to just hustle.
Bozak used to be really bad.
Yeah. They used to tell you in when we played hockey, you skate as hard to the bench as you did on the ice for the puck because you got to get off. You got to get out of there. I don't know, man. It's so frustrating watching the Leafs sometimes with that. Now, last night it was Lyubushkin and Riley jumping over. I think on that one, it's just they weren't focused. And they weren't paying attention.
When Lyubushkin tried to jump back on the bench and the swan dive into it and he couldn't get back on.
A for effort.
But guys, you're NHLers.
You're going to make a mistake. I would rather them take a too many minute penalty or too many men penalty for that than just casually leave the ice and
the puck hits the extra guy, and then the penalty.
Grab some popcorn. Is someone where to put my credit card? I gotta order some. Get off the ice! Jesus, you're trying to win a game. Get out of here.
I wonder if fans of other teams have this issue, or if this is a Leaf thing.
Maybe
because I don't evaluate that versus the rest of the league. If we actually take more bench minors, I'd love to know.
Well, I'm not paying attention to oh man, Dallas Stars really have a problem changing
right
now.
I'd love to know.
It sure never comes along at the right time, but I guess it wouldn't for any team, right?
I do remember the Owen Sound attack. The year they won the OHL championship in 2011. Someone pointed out, they're like, watch, they all change at the same time. And it was all I could focus on when watching them. All 5 guys hop over the boards at the exact same time. It was like, how do you have a signature line change style? That's so strange.
And they won.
Yeah, I'm looking
the worst way.
Yeah, were you able to find it?
I can't.
We were delaying long enough.
I cannot find it. I can find coaches for this year.
It wouldn't be hard.
Coaches with too many men on the ice statistics. Like the most that I could see is Bob Bugner. Is he a coach? Yeah. Craig Berube's got 5. Bob Bugner's got 5. I'm looking for John Cooper's got 4. Where is Sheldon Keefe? I don't see. The thing is, I don't know where he is unless there's a next page.
Don't worry about it.
Sheldon Keefe has 10 this year.
Oh my God.
It's the most in the league.
Most bench minors.
10 too many men. 10 too many men.
And he was pissed.
Yeah, he was.
Wow.
Sheldon Keefe has 10 this year. That is the most in the league. So yeah,
there you go.
There's something
it's
to
not
that.
In our brains.
And let me just check the previous year because season. Start season, stop season. So Sheldon Keefe. Do you want to look at the last 3 years?
Sure.
Okay, regular season, the most too many men. Hang on.
Too much man.
Oh my God.
Stop promoting Sarah Sivian's podcast.
Yeah.
Stop.
Very good podcast. Sheldon Keefe, 21. John Cooper has 24. Craig Berube with 25. DJ Smith with 24. By the way, there are calls for his job in Ottawa right now.
If it's the last 3 years, Sheldon Keefe's only been a head coach for 2 and
okay, so Sheldon Keefe is among the top, and he's only been the coach for most of he took halfway through. Yeah, so it's not good.
It's not good. It's not good.
It's just the NHL is hard enough to win in as it is.
He's got 15 in his last 2 seasons.
Yeah,
123 games.
That's 100 penalty minutes worth.
It's 10% of games.
Yeah, you could have gotten into 20 fights instead,
and had probably not been on shorthanded if you got into 20 fights. Right?
How many Leaf
you
players
need to got a fight? So no.
How many Leaf players over that amount of time have drawn 20 penalties? It's probably a pretty short list.
I was wondering something the other day, and I want to leave you with this, if that's okay, unless we've got another question we want to get to.
I'm all good.
Here's my question for the press conference. If the NHL really wants to get rid of fighting, why don't they go down to 4-on-4 once there is a fight?
I think that's funny.
Because that would favor the team, like a Leafs team, that would be high flying, would it not?
Well, see, would that not encourage the Leafs to fight? If you're losing, you get into a fight, to open up the ice so you can score.
Oh.
Yeah, no, then all of a sudden it becomes part of strategy.
I just feel like,
think that makes
okay,
sense.
maybe not. All right.
I like the idea, and I equally like shooting it down.
Okay. Just a thought.
To end the show, you want to breathe into the mic for 2 minutes straight?
Sorry.
No, all of us. All three of us.
You know what we need? The mic stands. It would be nice to have,
strips.
like, sometimes the ones that hang or get ones that are a little bit higher. I always crouch down with this microphone.
You're like this. You got your nose right in the...
I do. I'm sorry about that.
How's that one, subwoofer guy?
Wow, that was a big one.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at AdamWYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.